ecstasy. Wow. I cannot believe the Panthers won that game. I can't. And it's all Young. Three of the best throws he's made in his entire career. It was amazing hearing Drew Brees call Bryce Young out in the first half, where Young had some bad throws, overthrows, missed throws, took a sack at the end of the half that cost you some points potentially. Brees calling out Young for not taking advantage of the one-on-one opportunities over the top. How many times have we heard that? Young not taking advantage of the one-on-one opportunities over the top. It's been the case all year except for some blown coverages except from Dallas and Atlanta. Well, today, yes, Emmanuel Forbes is someone who's currently being ostracized from the greater Los Angeles area, and Rams fans are quite upset that he was in coverage against Tetairoa McMillan and Jalen Coker on those two touchdowns on fourth down that were clutch, that were the balls from the quarterback. But you can't take any of that away. The coverage wasn't awful. It was tight. Forbes was there. And Coker and T-Mac, for 6'3" big wide receivers, they were open by definition, but Young has had those opportunities all season. Like Brees said in the first half, that's Jalen Coker wide open. Him having a foot of space between him and the defender. That is open for the 6'3", 220-pound receiver. That is open. This isn't AB blowing past defenders. This isn't prime Antonio Brown. It's a different type of wide receiver. Today, Young hit those wide receivers. Yes, there's one man over the top. Yes, there's one safety. Yes, they're selling out to stop the run. Yes. Bryce Young just pulled off a Cinderella story. That's how this one goes down. This one goes down as Bryce Young rating 147.1. Matt Stafford on the other side. 3 turnovers. Completely cost his team the game. 85.9 rating. Young. We're all 10 years younger. Bryce Young. Outperforming MVP candidate. Literally, I think it was like minus 285 odds for MVP. Something crazy like that for Matt Stafford. Playing out of his mind. 19 touchdowns, no turnovers in his past 6 games. Some are saying this is the best passing attack they've seen in years. McVay, the best modern football coach. McVay was better than Belichick in his past few seasons. When Belichick was finishing up with the Patriots, McVay was outperforming him. You beat him. Your coach was better, your quarterback was better, but your quarterback really sold you that. And it was like Game of Thrones. This team's been battling. This defense, without Jaycee Horn, without Tre'von Moehrig, holding their own. You didn't really have a pass rush aside from the last couple of drives where I think Evero, with just a genius schemed nickel blitz with Ransom on the outside getting after Stafford for a sack. On the second drive, on offense for the Rams in the second half, Derrick Brown with a strip sack to seal it. To seal the deal, DB, your MVP of this season. Believe me, that's the truth. You didn't have a pass rush for the most part, but still, the first half, they held the ship. Mike Jackson played out of his mind. And I've been critical of Mike Jackson. People coming into the season were like, Tone, you need to really reevaluate your takes on Mike Jackson. This guy is legit. He was a legit cornerback 1 today. And Shaw Smith-Wade was doing it all. The Rams had the best matchups in the world. That's why it's so amazing to me that Stafford fell flat on his face. Like, you had Chris Barnes covering Xavier Smith on that 51-yard pass. You had Devontae Adams matched up on Trevin Wallace. And these were plays the Rams took advantage of. 32 yards in the first half to Devontae Adams. Stafford sees Wallace in coverage. 51 yards to Xavier Smith. Chris Barnes gets burnt. Nick Scott, he's in the opposite direction. There's literally not receivers on the side of the field. It was unbelievable. Scott didn't have a terrible game. He had the pick. I'm just picking on Scott. It was just funny. It's like they have 3 receivers on one side of the field, and Scott is still running to the other sideline on that 51-yard pass to Xavier Smith. Stafford moved the ball with ease. It's amazing how easy they move the ball. 7.1 yards per carry on the ground. Who doesn't care? Bryce Young on 4th down. Young. We're all 10 years younger on 4th down. Believe me, your stress levels go down when Bryce Young had the ball on 4th down on Sunday. That was amazing. Holy crap. And it was just amazing to me that Drew Brees is kind of throwing the quarterback under the bus. We usually have Schlereth on the call, Mark Schlereth, who I think he actually does a really good job in his analysis. And he was critical of Young earlier. Brees was just like, oh my gosh, put me in the game. Drew Brees was watching Bryce Young in the first half, like 4 yards per play, aside from that broken defensive play from the Rams that led to the 35-yard Chuba Hubbard touchdown, along with the 24-yard scramble from Young. The Rams lock you down on defense in the first half, and Brees was having a field day. He wanted to suit up. He looked at number 9, and he said, number 9? That's my number. Put me in there. As Bryce Young was failing to connect over the top. Well, he proved everyone wrong. Everyone wrong in the second half. 3 of the best throws of his career. We'll talk about those in a minute. Big picture, I thought the crowd was sick today. I thought the crowd was freaking sick. And I know a lot of people that listen to this program know a ton about the team. And I'm so grateful for the knowledge that like most Panthers fans have. I think most Panthers fans are a lot smarter than other NFL fans because you don't have the same level of coverage the Cowboys have, or the Niners, or the Rams, or the Patriots. You actually have to read between the lines to understand your football team so you really know it. It's obvious. But I think to the casual Panthers fan who maybe has a Cam Newton jersey, occasionally turns on the game, but they can get talked into doing other things on Sunday. You know, you try to bring them out to the mall. You try to get them to go out and, you know, go on a haunted hayride or whatever. They'll do it. They're not obligated to watch the football game. This Panther fan, this casual fan, they're more bought into the team now. And you could hear it in Bank of America. Oh my gosh, it was loud. It was so loud. And honestly, I think Panthers fans forgot how to cheer because they were cheering really loudly when Young had the ball. It's like they're on offense. The Panthers are on offense, and the crowd is like, yeah, keep pounding, keep. It's like Young's trying to get the freaking snap off. You're supposed to scream when the other team has the ball. I love it, man. I freaking love it. Well, here's Canales on the story of the day, those 4th down attempts. Clutch. I'd call it a turning point in the season, but I've called everything a turning point in the season. I thought beating the Packers after overcoming a 13.5 point betting odds. The Panthers are favored to, or the Packers are favored to win by 13.5. The Panthers win that game. I thought that was the turning point. I thought Young, 448 yards against Atlanta. I thought that was the turning point. So I'm not going to cry wolf, but here's Canales on the 4th down attempts, which could be a turning point. The 3rd turning point. Here's your coach.
I'm sure a lot of that is circumstantial, but is there an overall principle that you believe, hey, it's 4th down, we're going to go for it?
Well, who you're playing matters. And certainly with the Rams and the high-powered offense that they have, it makes me a little bit more aggressive. And, you know, Coach George Lee and I have these conversations during the week talking about our strategy and who we're playing and if it would be good. You know, what's it looking like on the other side? Like, let's try to steal a series here if we can, you know. And we came out with touchdowns. You know, first downs I would have been, you know, thrilled with. But to come away with touchdowns is fantastic, you know, to really capitalize on some of those single high one-on-one matchups. And that's what we've been hoping our guys do is to be able to come away with those opportunities. It's single high. They're man-to-man. Somebody's got to win, and the guys found great wins.
I think that last part of it is key to everything he's saying. Key to the season. One-on-one opportunities, whether it's Leggett, McMillan, Coker, whoever, These guys are one-on-one. Does Young throw the ball? Does he take a risk? And in my mind, it's not a risk. It's like the coverage is tight, but you expect a big, strong, muscular receiver, like any of the guys I just named, to make a play. Young trusted them. And I think McVay, who's on the other side watching Canales, goes, oh, geez. This is like the younger brother that has nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. Have you ever seen a sports game where the younger brother upsets the older brother? You play one-on-one basketball and the younger brother wins. He's got nothing to lose. He's already gotten wedgied. He's already gotten bullied. He's already gotten humiliated. He has nothing to lose. And Canales sits on that sideline on fourth down, fourth and short. They're selling to stop the run. There's one safety high. They have Emmanuel Forbes in coverage. And Canales goes, I have been let down time and time again by the quarterback either feeling rushed, not making the throw, being locked in on T-Mac. He was early in the game. He had Tremble wide open in the seam, locked in on T-Mac, misses the opportunity to connect with Tremble. And Canales sees this as, look, my play calling really doesn't change all that much. And you have to give him credit for running the ball more, yes. And certain strategic things like that, or moving T-Mac around, and I think he doesn't get enough credit for how they use Coker today. I'll touch on that in a second. But generally, when push comes to shove and the opportunity to make the throw is there, Canales has nothing to do with that. Canales, in his head, they're selling to stop the run. There's guys one-on-one. Are they connecting? Today, Bryce Young connected. Today, in the second half, Bryce Young connected. I do want to be very sure to call out where I give credit to Canales for, because he had a really good game. He did. I just think this is a lot more about Bryce Young outperforming Matt Stafford. That first half, they do like a little fake pitch, and Young scrambles the other side and runs for 24 yards. I was thinking to myself, how can Canales get cute? How can he get creative with a run play? It's a crack toss. Like, how much can you change that? It's like the Caesar salad. There's not much you can do. I went to one restaurant, they put caviar on a Caesar salad. Now, the tone's not rich. That was like a $30 salad. Freaking ridiculous. We never went back there. But it changed the salad. And that's like the only restaurant I've ever been to that does that. That is how Canales treated the crack toss. He tossed the salad differently. He faked the toss with Young, and then Young scrambles the outside. 24-yard run. And I think plays like that in that game were huge. I think plays like that where they deliberately kept the Rams offense off the field, and it felt like that in the first half. It really felt like that where the Panthers just offensively are not going to be able to keep up with this team. I don't care if Matt Stafford has 5 interceptions. I really don't care. They're too high octane. They move the ball too easily. They have guys named Xavier Smith, these players you never heard of, catching huge plays for them down the field. Devontae Adams just teleporting past to Caleb Evans. Whatever it may be, you didn't think the Panthers were going to be able to stay in that game. Canales kept the ship floating on offense. I think that, and then that Chris Shula defensive coordinator in Los Angeles, he's a grifter. I'm sorry. Free rider. He's gotten a lot of credit. I think they've held opponents to 10 points or less in the past 6 games. That Rams defense has, until the Panthers offense exploded today. I go, how do you get beat on screens and swing passes against the Panthers? How? Like, you're selling out to stop the run. Why is there no one there to tackle Rico Dowdle on a 15-yard swing pass? Chuba Hubbard, 35 yards, basically untouched to the end zone in the first half. Now, I think that's a lot more about the Rams defense and just a huge lapse, whether it's coaching or just bad tackling. I think the screen to Hubbard was bad coaching because there was no one there. Either way, in the win column, win-losses, that comes down to coaching. Canales, Evero, Canales, Idzik. You want to give Brad Idzik credit? Be it as it may. They get credit for that. And I think Canales, despite not having production from the quarterback, Young let a couple fly. He missed a few throws in the first half. It wasn't great, but ultimately he kept the war going. You know, the brutes, the grunts, they're on the ground, freaking Game of Thrones, slaying them with the sword. And then the second half comes around, you get your dragon. Your dragon comes in, just sprays everyone out. Bryce Young, an example, is the dragon. He let it fly. Caught fire in the second half. Young, in the second half, went off 126 yards and 2 clutch touchdowns, of course, on fourth down. And I think, to me, what that was about is Canales having a feel for the game. And I think he's been pretty good about this. There's a couple things that you can get on him for. Like, for example, special teams. They give him a 48-yard return to start the game. Nkoum had 2 penalties on special teams. Against that team, you can't do that crap. You can't do that crap against a team like the Rams. But it didn't matter. And I think generally Canales, a couple of occasions where he stuck with the run on 3rd and shorts, 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 4s. And to me, that's like, okay, we know what we want to do. And he tells you in the answer previously, we're going to go for it on 4th down. This is the Rams. This is the freaking Rams. It's like Michael Scott in The Office. It's happening! It's happening! And he's running around scrambling. It's happening! And you're playing the Rams. McVay's in town. Stafford's in town. The MVP's here. It's happening! And Canales knew he was going to go for it on 4th. Stuck with it with the run on 3rd. And Hubbard, I'm going to talk about him in a few minutes. He was awesome. I think there were not any yards to be found, and he was just savage between the tackles, falling forward, getting yards when there were no yards to be had. He was awesome in that game, and I give Canales credit for that. Sticking with the run when no one has faith in the run. You really didn't run the ball super effectively, but you did enough. You had 4.1 yards per carry. Again, the Rams, 7.2 yards per carry on the ground. 7.2. They only ran it 21 times. I get on McVay there. If I'm McVay watching your quarterback crumble, and I know Stafford doesn't crumble, you have Blake Corum. That last drive before the fumble, that last drive in the second half, it was only just under 4-minute drive. Here are the runs. 34-yard run, Blake Corum. 6-yard run, Blake Corum. 12-yard run, Kyron Williams. Then you get the 31-yard pass, that crazy catch from Puka Nacua. Oh my gosh. Puka was bailing his quarterback out. He was freaking awesome that game. Holy crap, he's good. I don't watch a lot of the Rams, but he is awesome. He is freaking awesome. And then you come back with a 7-yard run from Kyron Williams. The Rams in total in the second half, 10 minutes. 10 minutes they had the football. The Panthers, 19 minutes. That's a little bit off because there's obviously 30 minutes in the half, but I'm doing the math on the fly. You completely won time of the possession. That was how you beat the Cowboys in the third quarter. I go, this is how they're going to win. They're going to control the ball. They're going to hold on to it. Just keep the ball out of Dak Prescott's hands. Keep the ball out of Stafford's hands. And Canales did that on the other side of the ball. McVay's just like, we're going to throw our ways out of this. We're just going to throw our way out of this. Matt Stafford, MVP, go do your thing. Go do your thing. I think they could have ran more if they wanted to. All right, let's talk about this. Here is Dave Canales talking about the defensive performance.
Mike Jackson getting into the end zone.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And first career pick 6 for Mike, which was really kind of, I was a little bit shocked, but again, I look back and I was with him for a long time in Seattle, and he had some interceptions. I could never remember him running one back. And but just a great payoff. The fundamentals were right. His feet were in the ground. He broke on the ball perfectly and then came away with the score. It was awesome.
Canales talking about Mike Jackson's pick 6. Arguably the biggest play of the game, besides maybe the 2 fourth down touchdown passes from Young. Because without that, I think the Rams offense, they do too much. Even though Stafford handed the ball 3 times, you needed that pick 6. Complete game changer. Your offense wasn't looking good in the first half. 4 yards a play for the Panthers offense. If you take away the Hubbard screen and the Bryce Young scramble. Mike Jackson, huge play, pick 6. Derrick Brown, for a guy that gets so much slack for his pass rush ability. I mean, the Panthers literally didn't want to pay him real premium dollar because of his pass rush abilities. Because I think going into his contract, he had like 8 career sacks in 3 seasons, something like that. A huge play today. And I don't think his best asset as a player is his pass rushing. But this team, which I think is really green in terms of their pass rush ability, I think Scorching will be really good. Yamam, I think, can give you some of an edge on 3rd and long situations, obvious pass rush situations. I think he's a great rotational player for the rest of his career. Evero's ability to scheme up pressure, along with Derrick Brown, the huge tipped ball in the first half that allows Nick Scott to get the interception, the strip sack. I mean, he's not going to get it. He's 100% not going to get it. He should be Defensive Player of the Week. In terms of his effect on that game, that tip pass was huge, even though the Panthers went freaking 3 and out after that interception. But Mike Jackson came back with a pick 6, so you're good. And then the strip sack that sealed the deal. And that was a Rams offense that was moving the ball with ease. I think the Panthers really had to fight for yards. I know they had the 2 big plays over the top, catching Forbes in coverage. But if you're talking about the Panthers needing a touchdown, let's just say the Rams moving the ball down the field with ease, they score a touchdown on that final possession they have, and then you're coming back, and I have the time here, there's about 2 minutes and 30 seconds, just about. I think they have 3 timeouts, and you have to go down the field and score a touchdown. I think you feel a lot differently about that game. And sure, Young might have caught Forbes again a 3rd time, maybe. Maybe he does that, but I think if you need a touchdown in the 4th quarter, 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, that's a lot different of a game compared to Brown just ending it. Like Mariano Rivera just comes in the game and ends it. Strip sack to end it. The closer. That's normally what like Von Miller or these edge rushers that run 4.3 40s do. Myles Garrett. That's what they do. No, you have your 350-pound defensive tackle doing that for you. Freaking MVP. I know a lot of you feel the same way about Derrick Brown. Beast. Want to talk about this. Moehrig was out. I think Horn and Moehrig, it goes without saying Horn, but Moehrig especially, they would have made a huge difference in this game. I think the Panthers got caught just with a lack of personnel. Whether it's Chris Barnes lining up on Xavier Smith or Trevin Wallace one-on-one with Davante Adams. Who the hell let that happen? Holy crap. That was unbelievable. Or how about the 3rd and 6 touchdown? First quarter, Davante Adams touchdown from Matt Stafford. Who's in coverage of Caleb Evans? Good coverage. Your pass rush couldn't get home. Stafford had a 9-to-5 in the pocket. He had all day. He had a full-time job to throw that touchdown pass, and he did. He did. I think having the extra defensive backs would have made all the difference. You were in the platoon. Like, you were just pulling guys from nowhere. You have Isaiah Simmons on the roster. Isaiah Simmons, who I think is one of the best talents that never really panned out in professional sports. Somehow, between Mike Jackson playing out of his mind, had another really good coverage play against Davante Adams on that 3rd and long in the second half that I believe forced a 3 and out. It was a 3 and out for the Rams. Or Derrick Brown getting after the passer, or Evero scheming up pressure with Lathan Ransom. You were able to do it against all odds, against all freaking odds. Like, it is unbelievable to me that defense was able to do that. Unfreaking believable. Complete Cinderella story. That's really what this is. This is Kemba Walker hitting the shot over Pitt. This is, 16 seed beating the 1 seed. Didn't Oregon lose like Holy Cross or something one year? It's something like that. It is that big of an upset. Between the injuries, between your quarterback who has struggled all season, who has not been able to make that throw. Because people go, oh, Tone, what about the Falcons game and the Cowboys game? He was not throwing into that tight of a window. Emmanuel Forbes was beat, yes, but it was a step. It wasn't 3. The Falcons gave the Panthers 3 steps. The Cowboys, they were in downtown Dallas still. They left their defense in Dallas. No, those were legit big boy throws. And you needed every ounce of it. You needed a perfect game. How about this guy? Let's talk about Chuba Hubbard, player of the game over these past 2 weeks, if you calculate the Niners and the Rams games. Here's the coach on Hubbard.
Trying to run 2 backs for a while, but injuries have gotten in the way. What does that allow you to do, and did you get to kind of fully realize that out there?
Yeah, it's just fresh. It's fresh legs when they go out there. And, for Rico, it was a huge check down on the last drive. We didn't come away with points on the drive, but putting the ball out there in his hands, whether it's a run or a pass, just get the ball into Rico and Chuba's hands and let them affect the game because of who they are and because of the aggressive style that they play with. And so it's a dream to be able to have 2 guys that you can count on, and I can call anything that I have on the call sheet and trust that it's going to get executed.
Dan Morgan credit keeping Chuba Hubbard here, not taking the cheese, not taking the bait, not taking the worm on the hook, the 5th round pick or whatever it was New England was willing to offer at the deadline for Chuba Hubbard. I'm so glad they kept him here. And if they really wanted to save money, and if they really just wanted to pinch the pennies and get rid of the contract, because it's not a great one, they could have done it, and they didn't do it. And I think any identity this team has, it has to do with those 2 guys, Hubbard and Dowdle. Run the ball, stop the run. They didn't stop the run today, 7.2 yards per carry for the Rams. But you had 40 attempts on the ground. And they stuck with the run, even though they were getting pennies on the dollar. 2 yard, 1 yard, 4 yards, 3 yards. I have to look if they got a big run in there. I know Young scrambled for 24 on one of them, but they stuck with the run. Hubbard was awesome. Awesome between the tackles. There were 3 Rams players in the backfield, and he was just juking them out. It was freaking awesome. He has not played that well in a very long time. And now you have Dowdle, who looked a little bit banged up, but he's running the way he's running. Hubbard's running the way he's running. Oh, give me a break. You feel really good about this rushing attack. And if Young is throwing it over the top, this was the game that you needed against the Cardinals, against the Jaguars, against the Niners last week. You're as good as anyone. And I know people are getting on Canales, and I got on him a lot for having 6 carries in the first half, aside from QB runs against the Niners. And I got on Canales a lot for that goal line stand on the 1 yard line where Canales calls a freaking pass, puts it in Bryce Young's hands, 1st and goal from the 1. What are you doing, Dave? And clearly he was just trying to build some confidence for the quarterback. The quarterback's been good on those goal line throws. Hit 2 against Arizona, hit 1 against the Jets. Really nice one to Leggett. Leggett's best game of the season. Canales didn't have a great game against the Niners. The quarterback certainly didn't. They both bounced back. And if both those guys are on, Canales has been more consistent than Young, but if they're both on, this team can be in it with anyone. They really can. It is that simple. And Young, who missed a couple of opportunities in the first half, he didn't turn the ball over. That was really big, but I think just as big as that is the big throws, the vertical passing game. That is as big as the turnovers, and it was there today. It was there today. Hopefully it wasn't lightning in the bottle. As Mike Kay says, it's week 13 and no one knows what this team is. Mike Kay of the Charlotte Observer. That was fun to cover, he says. No one knows what this team is. It's unbelievable. Well, the Bucs won. Sigh. Puke emoji. But you have them twice. The world is your oyster. The Bucs have a really freaking easy schedule, though, which stinks. They have some layups. I think they have the Dolphins, the Saints. The Saints coming up. The Falcons could be the magical decider of all this. Because I think the Falcons, I know Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins and no one has faith in him. But that pass rush is legit. They have some talent on that defense. They did lose to the Jets today. Wow. Just what I was going to say. I have faith in the Falcons. But they're a mess. They're a mess, but maybe they can pull some magic against the Bucs. Who knows? This is the tone. You never know. You never know. That's why we watch this program and we tune in together, because we somehow try to find out. This is the tone. Upset alert, Cinderella story, Bryce Young. Bryce Young's the guy. My friends are texting him. They go, is Bryce Young him? I go, I don't know about you now. Maybe later you can text me. Text me next season. I don't know, man. I need to see more from the quarterback, of course. We all do. But it was a really good game today. And hopefully the Panthers are taking a step in the right direction. Playoffs. I'm talking about playoffs. This is the tone.